One second, let me just wait for the notification. And thank you again very much for taking time on your busy schedule. Okay. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning into a very, very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this afternoon. I'm very humbled that brother student Captain Durce Muhammad would take time out of his busy schedule to give us some information as well as inspiration on the People's Podcast. First of all, assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam, Brother Josh. And let me, before we even get started, thank you for the opportunity not only to share, but really to share on this particular platform. You've had some of my peers, some of those who that I've had an opportunity not only to soldier with, but to soldier under. And it is a honor and a privilege to be here to kind of just share a little bit of my experience in this great nation of Islam in the mighty FOI. And I thank you for this opportunity. And in particular, your thing is growing. Everybody's been saying it, so I'm glad I'm getting you early. So before you get you big. Remember me, Josh? Remember me?
Oh, no, so I can't forget about you at all. Walaikum salam, Sister Teresa Pearl sends the greetings to you as well. And thank you, Sister Teresa Pearl, for always stepping in. Okay, the first question we want to know, sir, is when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Thank you for that question. It's interesting. I'm at Prairie View A&M University, my freshman year, and I go to Prairie View A&M University on an engineering scholarship. And part of my engineering scholarship is it's a co-op thing where I'll go to school my entire freshman year, and then after that I'll go to school a semester and work a semester. And I'm from Maryland, so it so happened that my co-op assignment was going to be in DC, which was like right down my alley. So when I come to Prairie View in my freshman year, you know, the experience was fantastic and great. But I remember hearing some tapes on Malcolm X, you know, going into my my freshman year, the second part, tapes on Malcolm X and just different things like that. And being at a Black university, of course, obviously it raised my Black consciousness a little bit. But I came from a kind of conscious Black family. So, you know, neither here nor there, I heard, you know, a little bit of Malcolm X. So now, Josh, I'm working during the summer. As I'm working during the summer, one Saturday afternoon, I just go out and just go downtown DC, catch the metro and just exploring DC. Lo and behold, this joker's walking down. I don't mean to call him joker, but they may slip out every now and then. This brother's walking down the street with a boom box, and he's playing this tape. And as I'm listening to the tape, I said, "Oh man, that sounds like Malcolm X." I just left from the previous semester, and I stopped him and said, "Hey, brother." I didn't say brother. I said, "Hey, man." Actually, I said, "Hey, Slim," because we were saying in DC. "Hey, Slim."
Yes, sir.
Who's that right there? He said, "That's Minister Farrakhan." I said, "Minister Farrakhan?" He said, "Man, it sounds like Malcolm X." And then he started going to, that's, you know, he kind of like Malcolm X, you know, Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He was kind of go over my head like that. The only thing I know is that the minister's voice just kind of like, you know, stopped me in my tracks. That brother who was carrying that boombox was Brother Ernest. Your father's chief of staff, if you will. And Brother Ernest.
One second, Brother Cap. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You froze on me. Can you hear me? Josh, can you hear me?
Okay, but Captain, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes, sir. Okay, the Wi-Fi was, I don't know what was going on. Okay, yes, sir, but I'm listening. We're right here with you.
Okay. So I left off, did you hear me when I left off that the brother carrying that boombox is Brother Ernest?
Okay, no, sir, I didn't know that. Okay, yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'm listening to it. So when I stopped him, he said, yeah. It was Brother Ernest. Brother Ernest said, he said, look, we're having this meeting. You can come to this meeting. I'll come pick you up. I said, okay, well, cool. You know, this sounds pretty neat what this is. Now I'm thinking the minister's going to be there. Since you invite me to this meeting, you know, that's the brother I heard on the tape. So he's saying, I live in Silver Spring at the time. He stayed in Silver Spring. He had just got married. He said, I'm gonna come get you to the meeting. We go to the meeting. And I remember that there was Brother Wali, I think, was speaking at the time. I remember seeing Brother Alim, and the reason I remember these two because Brother Wale, when he went to Chicago, said, "Man, that's the guy I first saw in D.C."
Yes,
and then I remember Brother Alim being the doctor and just being tall and his presence.
Yes, sir.
So that was my first foray into hearing the nation. And then as Allah would have it, when I get back, there's a brother by the name of Brother Albert X Gaines. He's now Brother Rashid. He comes back and he had joined the nation. He had joined the nation in Chicago. And so he starts, he's bringing back tapes and he's telling us about this thing. So I'm intrigued. This is the same semester, Josh, that I pledged Kappa Alpha Psi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fraternity Incorporated.
Yes, sir.
Frat so nice I had to name it twice. Well, we get to that.
Yes,
we get to that a little bit later.
Yes, sir.
And guess who is my dean of pledgees? Brother Lamont, who is from Chicago, who had joined the nation, but his act, I definitely didn't attach it to, because as I know now, you have certain rules you're supposed to abide by in the nation. He wasn't abiding by. He was in college, but I mean that's just how it goes. Yes, but as we later talked, he was sharing with me that how he used to be on Damon with the minister and his family, getting the final call together and helping and assisting and all that other sort of thing. So after I pledge Kappa, I come back to DC for my co-op assignment, and then I start going back and forth, getting different tapes and things like that. As the years progressed, I used to go to a place, and you would know this, Josh, your father, the Pyramid Bookstore, right down the street from Howard University on Georgia Avenue, and that's where I would get the tapes and whatnot. I would see Brother Jamil sitting in there, and they would have a tape, a thing of the minister, and long story short, they would always have these different tapes, and they would, your father would come in there periodically. I didn't know who he was at the time, but they would always talk to him, man, how was it? And I guess they would be talking about wherever he was traveling with the minister.
Yes, sir.
That's kind of go over my head. I'm just like looking and intrigued about the minister, but that's kind of my foray in my introduction into the nation. When I get out of school, and I'll close with this part. When I get out of school, then I start, because I'm still looking for the nation. I go to Baltimore, and then I sit in there with Brother Donald, the poet. Brother Donald out of Baltimore.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I'm sitting up in there with him, and sitting there basically all day, listening to the tapes, and we're just talking and things along those lines. And so that was kind of my introduction to the Nation of Islam. And then I joined here in Houston, and we'll talk a little bit about that on how I joined, going back to Prairie View and like that.
Okay, yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Sister Donna Muhammad, as we'll read to you some of the comments, Brother Captain. Sister Donna Muhammad says she used to work there at the Pyramid Bookstore at Respect for Life. She says, Assalamu alaikum. She said, tell Brother Durce that I was on before him. He would know what that means. Teresa Pearl Muhammad says, Noop with the shades. Brother Mark Diesel says, slow down, Noop. Okay. Yes, my sister Miriam says something like, and boom, beautiful. Yes, ASA family. Walaikum salam. My next question for you, sir, is how did your parents feel about you joining the nation?
Good question. And like anything, when you first join the nation, you're excited and you're fired up about it. Just as a backdrop, I get to Prairie View because I get an engineering scholarship, but my uncle worked at Prairie View. And so it was like a line of us that would come from Maryland, and we would go to Prairie View. So I had my uncle and my aunt who kind of watched over us while we were in Texas, and of course my family there in Maryland. So when I came back and I'm showing this interest in the nation, I'm playing these tapes and whatnot. And at that time, I was making sure that I was getting a lot of tapes that the ministers did at colleges, because when he spoke at colleges, he kind of spoke to that whole thing of, expanding your mind, having more critical thinking, what you were thinking about before. This is the time now to explore new thoughts, new ideas, new ideologies, and things like that. So as I would bring these tapes home, like anything else, I'm saying, man, see, at that time, they don't do it. They were smoking cigarettes at that time. See, you should be smoking cigarettes, killing you. You got this man coming here, selling you this, he's selling you death and this, that, and that.
Yes, sir.
Then my father, he be going toe to toe. Of course, at that time, as I reflect back on it, you know, like anything else, you're zealous about it, but you're not understanding the dynamics of what you're dealing with. A child coming to a parent that they've been up under. Now this child trying to exercise its independence, and there's going to be some natural pushback.
Yes, sir.
All,
Yes, sir.
all that being said, they were almost like, okay, that's cool, but it's like he ain't going to stick with it. So we'll let him go ahead and we'll ride this out, and then we'll come back to him and see, I told you so type thing. But they were never negative from the standpoint of because it, the nation, just from a health standpoint, you eat better, you take care of yourself and things along those lines. But of course, the obvious thing, look, we're making some bacon. We ain't gonna make no precision. You just don't need it. We ain't giving you no. But we ain't making no special accommodations.
Yes, sir.
With that being said, Josh, and we may go into a little bit further when you talked about that. Years later, as we started having our family gatherings, and of course, now they start seeing me not only serious about the nation, but I've written a couple articles for the Final Call, and they see me in that. And when they're calling, they see that I'm on the road traveling. So they really see that I'm serious. But I think probably the most heartwarming thing is that maybe my second Thanksgiving in Houston, because that's where if we would be down here, we have Thanksgiving. My aunt started making dishes and started making things that didn't have pork in it. And as soon as I would come there, she would point that out, say, hey, okay, hey, you can't eat this, but this is for you.
Okay.
She make deviled eggs without the bacon. She would make green beans using smoked turkey as opposed to whatever the pork necking or whatever.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so that was very heartwarming to know that just by virtue of just being respectful of my diet, that they would have special dishes like that. And then years later, they just stopped it altogether. Everything started being cooked with smoked turkey. There was no bacon bit. So they accepted it once they saw that I was really into this thing.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. And people are sending you love. Thank you all. And thank you, Brother Captain, for your honesty and transparency. Brother Rashid from Houston says, please tell him to please give the greetings from him. Brother Earl says, Assalamu alaikum. And thank you very much. Okay. My next question for you, sir, is once you came in and you accepted the teachings, where did you come in and who trained you? What was that process like?
So I come in that's very interesting too. So I got to give this as a backdrop because it's going to lead to another story, and I hope you'll ask me some questions about the minister. But when I get out of school, I come home. Like I said, I'm kind of going back and forth. I'm back and forth to Baltimore. I'm still trying to stay in contact with the minister as far as what he's doing and things like that. Listening to tapes and videos and anything that pops up on the news. I'm excited about it. Then of course he gets on Public Enemy. You hear Chuck D talking about him on Public Enemy. So now I say, you know what? If he's inspired me and he's kind of like really, I think that he could really be inspirational to other people. But more importantly, just because I'm not seeing the minister as is, more importantly, it would be a good entrepreneurial effort on my part because this man is a good speaker and I can get him up there at my school. I can go ahead and fill up the baby dome and make some money.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now, because I'm just looking, that's what he is to me. He's just a good speaker.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I want him to come to Prairie View. So I go back to the college because at this time I just got back from back into Houston from Maryland. So I go back to the university. I trying to get some of my contact, get my fraternity brothers, get all the Panhellenic Council, say, look, man, we need to bring this brother down, Minister Louis Farrakhan. He's conscious, it's good, we can do all this type of thing. This is the type of thing we need at a black school, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I rally all the university organizations and things like that, student government. And then now I'm thinking I could just call Chicago, say, hey, I want to invite this, Louis Farrakhan down to Prairie View. So we got to contact the local people there in Houston. I said, well, where they at? Okay, no problem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So they give me in contact with that time, Brother Robert, now Dr. Halim, Abdul Halim Muhammad. and the captain at the time, his name was Robert too. So they put me in contact with him. I said, hey, look, I get down, sit down with them. I said, look, this dome holds 6,000 people. I'm confident I can move 3,000 tickets on campus. And I'm thinking, this is your guy. You got the big city of Houston. Y'all love him. This is your man. Surely you can move 3,000 tickets here in the city of Houston.
Yes,
only $5 a piece. Man, surely I know I can get the 3,000 at Prairie View, because at that time I think that we had 7,000 students were there. If just less than half go, it's right on campus. I know I can do that. And you do that. So now I'm thinking like this: ching ching, Josh, ching ching. 6,000 times 6 times 5 is 30,000. Oh yeah, pays honorarium. So now I say, okay, well, what's his honorarium? They said it was 10,000. You needed 2 round trip tickets, and hotel come, no problem. We can do that, but just from Prairie View, and then anything come from Houston, that's going to be gravy. So now this is setting a backdrop for something that we'll talk about in a few minutes. So when they would not respond back, I just couldn't get a respond back. At that time, Sister Ava was handling his schedule. So, they just wouldn't respond back, or they would, they were slow, and we were waiting to see. I said, I know what we're going to do. I flew to Chicago, me and the SGA president and another brother from Prairie View. We flew to Chicago to the Final Call building to press the issue.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, good, we get to see the minister face to face. We'll see how serious we are. We fly to Chicago. We get to the Final Call building. When we get to the Final Call building, we tell them that we're there. We're there to see Sister Ava. As we're waiting in Sister Ava's office, Brother Abdullah comes in. He said, y'all are the students from Prairie View? Yes, sir. He said, yeah, we come to see, we're trying to confirm. So, he said, well, you just missed the minister. Then this is 1988, Josh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You just missed the minister. He went over to the mosque. They have some men in from Turkey, and they're looking to put some gold thing on the gate, because they were renovating the mosque at this time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And in my mind, okay, that's cool, but hey, what about this damn date we trying to get? Because I'm looking at him as a speaker. So Sister Ava now comes in and she says, well, we're looking at the schedule. This is the day we probably, we can probably do it. And said, well, ma'am, we're trying to get it when school is in. That's when the students are going to be there. And so, that's why we're here. Obviously, you see we're serious. And then boom. So she said, okay, let me get with the minister and we'll give a date, by this week, which they did. The interesting thing on that, again, was Sister Ava handling his schedule. And then now, and when I joined the nation, I know she's like a main cog, but I didn't see her that. I'm just looking at her as a secretary.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You gotta wait for the secretary to come.
Yes, sir.
So fast forward. Now we get a date for the minister, and again, just going to how I joined the nation. How I get in the nation. It's a go. I tell the brothers in Houston, Brother Robert at the time, again, Dr. Halim, the other brother, Captain Robert, say, hey, here are your 3,000 tickets. This is the date. It's on. I said, all right. I said, anything we need to do? I said, no, we just need to make sure that you have the money for the hotel. We'll tell you what the hotel is. The ticket, we'll take care of that. You just take care of Prairie View. No problem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we got doggone doing it. I'm asking how ticket sales going there, because they're moving at Prairie View. How ticket sales? Well, it's kind of slow, but this, that, and the other. Hey, okay, well, cool. I'm still, but I'm in my head. This is your man. I know they're gonna push it, man. So we get to Prairie View, and it doesn't go as planned, Josh. The standpoint of what in my head thinking that it was going to be all these people there. It was plenty of people there, mostly from Prairie View, and we had quite a few from Houston, but definitely not the 6,000 that I had anticipated.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Definitely not the monetary windfall that was going to take care of all the expenses and the honorarium. So we fell short. And so one of the things that took place in Brother Dr. Halim relayed this to me earlier, when it found out the day of the event, and it found out that this is where we were in terms of honorarium, the minister was asked by Dr. Halim, he said, look, brother minister, they don't have your full honorarium and you don't have to go. You know, we'll go up there, we'll cancel it. And, you know, you got a round trip ticket. Everything is paid for here, so you can go. He said the minister kind of paused, looked up. He said, no, brother, I'm going to go. Because he said there may be one person there that hears this message that can shake up the world. So I'm going to go. The interesting, so at this time, brother Ali, brother Frank at the time, he's a supreme captain. He doesn't let me out of his sight, Josh. He don't everywhere. My ride was no longer my ride. I was riding with him. You know, you ride with me, brother.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, he's keeping me in sight, making sure we get this money. So this is the very first time. I want to share this with the audience and with you. The very first time I saw the minister, we were at the hotel. We were waiting in the lobby, and Brother Frank went to go, or Brother Ali went to go, I guess, relay some information to the minister about what the situation was. And he said, well, we're on our way to the campus. When we come down, he said, okay. So when we come downstairs, we had to do something. And by this time, the minister is sitting in the lobby. Josh, this is my first time seeing the minister up close. It looked like literally a light was just on him and he was glowing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He looked like he was, he looked like he was glowing. I'm in a trance now because I'm looking at him sitting down. I said, man, it looked like a light is coming up, like a light specifically was on him. So brother Frank said, come on, brother. Come on, brother. And then he bumped me real hard. Bam! And, you know, it kind of broke me out of my trance. And as I was walking, he said, brother, don't worry about that. A lot of people, when they first see when they first see Minister Farrakhan, they get like that. I said, man, it looked like a light was on him. He just started smiling. I said, yeah, there is. And then, of course, it goes over my head at that time, but I know what he was talking about. I said, yeah, he is a light. So,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, cool. Long story short, at the end of the lecture, the minister shakes my hand. He said, brother, he said that I appreciate your spirit in trying to do it, but you went about it the wrong way. You know, with his beautiful smile and whatnot. His son was there, Brother Supreme. He looking all, Brother Musa looking all mean. Then one of the brothers that was with me said, hey, brother, it's okay. And he started smiling. Anyway, we didn't get the money, brother. And however, I'm pleased to announce that at that particular meeting, just as the minister said, at that particular thing was Brother Khalil, who's now in South Africa, registered member. Brother Derek, Brother Captain Derek, who later became the student captain there in Dallas. Sister Valerie was there before she joined. Sister Malika now the student captain. Brother Tony Warren Muhammad, who is now a registered member of the Nation of Islam. Brother Chris Seven, a brother there, Brother Norris, may Allah be pleased with him. He left there and wrote a play that after that play won 3 National History Award plays for high school. It was a play with a conversation between Malcolm X, imaginary conversation between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. He was at that meeting, so there was many, just as the minister said, that not only joined the Nation of Islam, but even left there and became important persons in regards to the city of Houston and what has taken place in this for the past 20 to 30 years from that meeting at Prairie View.
Praise be to Allah. Okay, excellent. And to follow up with you, Brother Captain, myself and the brothers in Atlanta have drilled in that play multiple times the conversation between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King here in Atlanta.
Oh, yes, sir. Man. Okay. Yes, sir.
They brought it here. So we've done it multiple times. Okay. I want to go back, Brother Captain, and thank you all for continuing to watch People's Podcast. I want to go back to you joining your fraternity. What made you choose to pledge Kappa?
When I get to, and I was fortunate because when I get to Prairie View, and then I find this out later, couple things. One, at that time, our sports teams were horrible, terrible. So the big, generally on campus, college campus, the big men on campus are the athletes. That's not the case. That wasn't the case at Prairie View.
Yes, sir.
The second thing is when my freshman year, you had a place called, you had the big dome where the minister spoke at, and we had a place called the we call it the little gym, and that's where our step shows were. That held maybe about 3,000 people. And so my first step show, everybody was on campus at the time. Nobody was suspended. So I had an opportunity to see all 4 fraternities and all 4 sororities. And so when the brothers came out, I didn't really have an idea what that was all about. But I did know that you had to have a certain grade point average, and then you had to pledge. But even before the pledge process, you had to be selected. So there was a level of specialness to be in a fraternity. Well, I had a little bit of ego. I said, well, I want to be special. I don't want to just be in college, but I want to be a special person in college.
Yes, sir.
So now what takes place, I had no idea what's what. The Sigmas come out. There's a whole bunch of them. They came out, they did their thing. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, man. But I mean, how special is it if it's just a whole bunch of the jokers?
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The Alphas came out. And they were cool, and they were known to be smart and whatnot. But to me, they were a little bit didn't have enough snap. It seemed like, but they were cool. Then the Qs came out. So okay, all right, that's okay, all right. But then them jokers started getting, hey, Josh, then them jokers started getting on the floor and just started humping and started doing. I said, oh man, they cool. But man, I can just see right now, my aunt coming in here, see me on the floor. Boy, get up on that. I said, oh man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I later find out that my cousin, I told you there was a line of us. My cousin was on the second line. He pledged Omega I didn't even know this at Prairie View. And he was on the second line there. So he's in their history. Then the brothers came out, then the Kappas came out. But they had them canes, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They weren't just doing it, but they had, not only did they step, but they had something a little bit different. I said, oh, okay, that's pretty cool right there.
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They're doing everything everybody else did, but they had a cane, which was a different little wrinkle. I said, okay, all right, cool. So now going into your sophomore year, you couldn't pledge as a freshman. They had the different smokers. And so I said, I'm gonna check out these, then I think you get, it's open, the smoker is open. And then after you go to a smoker, then if they want you, then they'll invite you to the next thing. So like I said, I got it. So let me check these Kappas out. So I go to their smoker, and I'm sitting there. This caused me some trouble when I got in line because I'm listening to them, but I'm like, hey, yeah, that's good. But when we get those canes, y'all got when we get them.
When we get the canes?
Yeah, when the brother would say, I tell you what, if you ever make it, I'll get you a cane. I'm thinking, this dude, man, okay, cool, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Right. So I get selected, get online, and pledge for 8 weeks. And at that time, Josh, I didn't think there was nothing that could bond brothers more than a fraternity to join the nation, because you now talking about people from all different places, and then the pledge process bonds you literally for a lifetime. I mean, for a life, you now have complete strangers turned into brothers for a lifetime. And I couldn't think of any other process that could do that until, of course, I joined the nation. But that was just fantastic to me. And so this year is my 40th year in the nation in Kappa Alpha Psi. And this October, we're going to get together with my line brothers. Some I haven't seen in almost 30 years. We stay in contact, but that process, and I will say this also, Josh, that fraternity process and that pledging, especially during that time, especially at Prairie View, which was, that's what like I just told you, when you pledge any fraternity at Prairie View and you came through, you all right, because, we were the big men on campus.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But long story short, closing out on that particular piece, it prepared me so well for joining the nation, because it was really mind-boggling to me when we would get in there and the lieutenant and the captain would be talking to us and whatnot, and then brothers would come back, man, he had to talk to me like that, and he talked to me bad. And me and the other brother looking at it say, man, that ain't nothing. He ain't hitting you. He ain't spitting on you. He ain't doing none of that kind of stuff. He ain't disrespecting you. Matter of fact, he's asking you stuff, saying brother in front of it. And that ain't nothing. So the fraternity, and I found that the fraternity and those who have pledged fraternity being in the nation in that structure and following Black authority, it allows them to be able to navigate much better in the nation. And I found to be a lot more, I don't want to say strong, but a lot more agile when it comes to being able to make the adjustment of having Black authority over you and then dealing accordingly. And if you notice, Josh, you have brother Tony, that's the Brother Malik.
Yes,
what is it? His brother Tony out in LA. He's no man. The Final Call editor, Brother Richard, is a Kappa. The former Final Call editor, Brother James, is an Omega. Sister Ava is an AKA. So there's something about that fraternal process that helps and assists. Dr. Halim is a groove. And there are many, our sister minister here in Houston is an alpha.
Yes,
the reason I bring this up is because prior to that point, I thought that fraternity, but the nation now even brings all of us together under one purpose and under one roof. So I believe that process assists in helping to take Black authority and to have Black authority. And I'll close with this point, Josh. The brothers and sisters, in particular the brothers, because that's what I deal with, when they're coming out, they're not coming from Mars, they're not coming from Venus. And so they're coming up out of the same society that says that 70% of the households have women over it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You'll find a level of brothers when they get into the ranks, man, when you talk to them a certain way, as men talk to men, man, they kind of shrivel up. They kind of, because they're not accustomed to having men talk to them like that, man. You have to
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's because, again, you're talking about this 70%. So those of us who perhaps that have had our fathers with us, and those of us who perhaps went through a paternal process, that fraternity, getting into the fraternity, it not only prepares us, but we have an appreciation not only for Black authority, but also we have skin that is toughened to be able to talk to a certain way, because at the end of the day, it's all to be good,
Praise be to Allah. Okay, excellent. And Sister Teresa Pearl, I believe she's the AKA. She says she agrees with you, sir. And thank you all. Sister Naima says Assalamu alaikum as well. My next question.
I gotta say this, Brother Daryl's a Kappa too. The former Southern Regional Student Secretary.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He absolutely
take that, Mark D.
Yes, sir. And he would definitely do his shimmy. It'll be a gathering together, like a mosque outing or something. My next question for you, sir, is when did you go from seeing the Most Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as a speaker and someone who came in 1988 to Prairie View University to someone who was divinely guided?
Excellent question, brother. So as we're going through that situation, right, and we're still scrambling to get the money because now the minister's back. Brother Ali stayed back a couple of days, man, trying to get this money. So I talked to Sister Ava, and I'm apologizing, this, that, and the other. And she said, brother, you don't understand what takes place when the minister moves. He said when he leaves out of Chicago, which is his best, his cocoon, if you will.
Yes, sir.
He said when he leaves out of Chicago, he said I never will forget these words. He said the whole nation holds their breath because this man is having an entire nation, and God is with him. However, when he's out of our, she didn't use cocoon, but when she's out of our protective circle, this man, we were anxious, like she said the whole nation holds his breath.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, he's a good speaker, but why? So going directly to your question. So now I'm in the nation. We're dealing with the at this time. I know we'll forget this. We're dealing with the men's meeting for preparing for the Million Man March. And as the minister's coming through it, obviously the protocol is he gets to the city, he'll get situated, then he'll have a press conference talking about the Million Man March and blah blah, all those things involved.
Yes, sir.
Same thing. So when he comes to Houston, that same thing's involved. We're at the hotel. They're having a press conference, and we're having the press conference. I'm behind the press, and Brother Mustafa is in the. He sits in one of the empty chairs.
Yes, sir.
And Josh, he's looking at his father like he's done flown with him. He probably heard these questions answered 1,000 times, but he's looking at his father like he's never, like he's seen him for the first time, man. He's looking at his father like with this like this smile on his face, like wow, And I'm saying, man, and I know from just my experience that generally when people are around people a lot, there's a level of familiarity brings contempt.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When I saw his son looking at his father in such a way that's like, man, this is not my father. That made me look. That started me making me look at the minister differently. And to this day, I know the minister is who he is because those who are constantly around him, we call him the E team, and those of us who have been privileged to be around him, it's never a chore. It's never, damn, I got to go do this for the minister. It's always an excitement, and it's always like the first time, brother. I'm talking about people been around him for years. I've seen your dad just like, he'd be talking to us, and all of a sudden the minister say, he'll get a message or a radio call. The minister wants to see you, and he just, hey, and you just snap. You just roll out. So there's something about a man who, when you're constantly around him, no matter what you and no matter what state or what condition you see him in, there's something that about that man that dictates that you still looking at him, not only just as if you've seen him for the first time, you have this level of excitement, but there's something divine about him that whether you recognize it or not, your body responds and your spirit responds to that. I'll close with two things that in terms of going to your question as far as seeing. So that was the first thing. And then just observing brothers constantly around him. I was in Jackson, Mississippi when they killed the brother, the minister came down and spoke. I was in Jackson, Mississippi, right there on the stage, behind the stage where the minister talked about, you bring your God, I'm bringing my God. I'm calling on this thing. When they got back to the thing, they told us to immediately get on the road and get back because this rain is coming, and that big flood came. Remember that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That same, so, and I'm studying at this time. So, I mean, I'm seeing the minister who he is. Yes, the final thing, and there's many things, but I'm just giving you these two things. And the last thing is the 35,000 that came out to see the minister for the men's meeting in Houston.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it was overcast. It was about to rain. And they told the minister, and the minister said it on the rostrum. And then I heard from also the team too. The minister had prayed. He said, brother, he prayed to Allah that it wouldn't, because they had to put big speakers out there and whatnot. And if it would have rained, not only, of course, it would have been, it would have been dangerous because they had big electrical speakers out there because everybody couldn't make it in. And so the minister said, he prayed that Allah would hold back the rain and allow, the brothers to listen to what he had to say safely and, of course, comfortably without rain falling on them. Josh, I'm telling you, we come off the rostrum, we get them into the car, we escort the car because we had to go slow. So we were walking, escorting the car until we get on the freeway. Brother, as soon as he turned the corner, listen to me, Josh, as soon as he turned the corner, we walking back, here comes the rain. Man, what manner of man is this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And this is not being spooky. This is not, because the forecast, the enemy will talk about it's going to this, that, and the other. And as soon as he turned the corner, that's when the rain. So Allah heard him. He held back the rain until not only he took care of the business, but until the majority of the people left and he was gone. So, you can't, this is not no, I think I need one more thing. Nah, not for me. I can't speak for you, Joe. I'm talking not for me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, excellent. And Brother Tyrone says, "Assalamu alaikum. Please represent Brother Durce. He misses you, black man." Okay, Brother Tyrone H. Muhammad says he misses you, Brother Durce, Brother Captain. My next question for you, speaking of Brother Captain, how did you come up into the military, and how did you, get into the military?
I'll go back to the fraternity from the standpoint of understanding the dynamics of brotherhood. And so coming into the military, it wasn't a problem of listening and following instructions and whatnot. We were, I have to give credit to Brother Captain Khalil Muhammad, who was a brother who, for me, and many of them may be like that, but for me, one of the easiest things for me to be able to follow instructions or to hear what someone has to say, because I experienced this online. You know when somebody is doing something for you because it's part of the process, and you know when somebody's doing something because they can. You know, they're really basically taking advantage of you.
Yes,
and
sir.
So you kind of pick those things up. You also pick up things where you, for me, a leadership style, and that's why it's so easy for me to follow the minister. A leadership style, I think that most of us can agree on, is that when a person tells you something to do something, you've either seen that person do what he's asked you to do, or he is doing what he's asked you to do. And that was the leadership style of Brother Khalil. He didn't ask us nothing that he wasn't out there doing. He didn't ask us to put up no chairs if he didn't have a few chairs in his hand.
Yes, sir.
He didn't
Yes,
ask
sir.
us to sell no papers if he didn't have a bundle in his hand. You
Yes, sir.
understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So coming up under him, it allowed so now in giving out instructions or anything like that, it was easy for me to follow. But he also, and this was the thing that helped me within the ranks, Josh, going to your question, he also allowed the flexibility of, my brain to approach different problems, different situations, and try it out. You hear and obey, but he also allowed play. He didn't jump on you because you said, brother, I told you to go left and you went right, then left. So brother, was something in the way when I first went left. That's why I had to go right. And then I went left and we still got the job done.
Yes, sir.
So he allowed that type of flexibility without jumping up and down on you on that. So that allowed, and then I just ascended to the ranks. I ascended in the ranks because I enjoyed what I was doing. And then I also wanted to see us, to the best of our ability, excel. And I was allowed an opportunity to do that. So, and I always say this, Josh, and I hope the listeners understand the spirit in which I'm saying. The supreme wisdom did not stop at the borders of Illinois.
Yes, sir. Yes,
wisdom is for all of us. And if we allow it, just what we said, if we submit, the luxury, money, good homes, and friendship and all walks of life are for all of us. If we just, put our mathematical theology to work, and these ideas and things that we have, we can have the ideas that we have, we can exercise them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See how they work out. And in doing that, some of the things that we've talked about in terms of ideas did. So I was going to your point, I guess I was rewarded with just, not only following instructions, but also excelling in certain areas and helping to move men. And I have a very high competitive streak. So I wanted our squad to be number one. So I want, we would do things and try to just make us number one, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If our squad was given 500 papers, we would sell out 500 and look for anybody else that didn't have theirs and go and then talk about it. Man, give me your paper. You ain't gonna move them. We need to raise some money. It didn't stop us from getting some bumper stickers made. Nobody, So those type of ideas and bringing into the table helped and to assist me to rise in the ranks.
Praise be to Allah. And Brother Sultan from the E-Team sends the greetings. Walaikum salam, Brother Sultan. Brother Jamar says, yes, sir. That's right. And Brother Derek Pierre sends the greetings as well. He said you're dropping.
And again, Brother Sultan is one of those other ones. Been around the ministry for years.
Yes, sir. Yes,
brother,
sir.
But from Houston, Brother Sultan from Houston.
Okay.
but Brother Sultan, again, in observing him on how he serves the minister, he helps the minister. He's the minister's valet.
Yes, sir.
And I've never seen him like, dang, I got it. Man, I've never seen him like that, brother.
Yes, sir.
He's just as excited as if he's meeting them for the first time. And that tells you who the minister is, brother. You be around those who are around people like that. They don't like, if you say something about the minister and they be like, oh, there's nothing like that.
Yes, sir.
Like that. So it's those type of brothers in the E-Team, in particular Brother Sultan, who's been around him for years. And I'm gonna tell you, we could talk about this man Martin. I'm gonna tell you what Brother Sultan comes into play on that thing too.
Okay, yes, sir.
And your father.
Okay, yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. I have a question before we get to the Main March. I want to go to when I came to Houston to protect the Muslims. So it was Farrakhan. I don't know exactly what year it was, but we came and he was dealing with the business meeting afterwards about you. Y'all had a successful business.
Yes, sir.
And I had never heard nothing like that. And I was just so fascinated to see the FOY having can you go into your business and how that came about? That was phenomenal.
Yes, sir. Well, when in the nation, one of the things they teach you is to, of course, to do for self. And also one of the things that we want to do and what we found out early is that the most valuable thing that we have is not money, but it's our time. But we have to use our time to make money to take care of the necessities. And so what we did was understanding and knowing that dynamic for years, wanting to do certain things, but whether we couldn't do it because of the lack of money or resources or because of the lack of time, because we had to work. So we had to find out a way. And we wanted to be able to travel with the minister. We wanted to be able to help and to assist.
Yes, sir.
But more importantly, we wanted to free up our time so that we could be able to do whatever we wanted to do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the businesses that we had, we teamed together, again, just as the lessons talk about, when 5 or 6 you have an idea, you pull your resources. And it's interesting, Josh, he didn't say 9, 10, it's not a big number.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I see why, because the bigger your number, you'll get bogged down in, having to make decisions and stuff like that. So in Brother Danny, Brother Isaiah, myself, and then we bring in Brother Keelan and others, Brother Sylvester. But us three, we had an idea. We put our mathematical theology to work, man, and it clicked. And it was dealing with medical things. And that thing took off so fast, it allowed, just as we prayed for, monetary success, but more importantly, our time was freed up. In other words, we had an opportunity to employ quite a few brothers, quite a few laws found, and the importance. I'm gonna go to the thing, but put it on pause for a second. That's the key of influence, Josh. Our businesses were such they were Muslim business, so we worked for you could care that we worked for the Fourth and this, that, and other. But our employees, many of them were not registered members, but they would get off on October 16th. They would wonder why. So we explained to them. They would get off for Savior's Day. They wonder why. They explained to them. When we would come in, they would call us Brother Durce. Their language started changing like our language. So the influence of what we have, those businesses. Now going back to unpause. So we had the money, we had those things that allowed us to go after what we said that we were going to do in the pledge. The pledge card says we're going to build hospitals, we got farmland, we're going to build schools. And so our monies were poured right into those things we talked about. We bought a 40-acre farm. We wanted raw milk, so we put cows on there, and we had raw milk. We didn't have to go to anybody. We had our own raw milk. We had a school that we financed that to this day elevated places, and all the things that they have done. We helped finance and rear that. Started in Brother Isaiah's home, and now has a building and all the successful things that's take place. So education, we did the farmland, of course, just the economic, just economics. We were charitable, and it allowed us to do certain things and freed up our time. And even, Josh, and we'll talk about this at another, maybe if we get a part 2, we even traveled the world, not just the country, but the world, looking for and trying to exercise our ideas to help the nation. We were trying to do an oil deal with Venezuela. Yeah, we got. I think I may touch on that story because it's kind of funny and it's kind of thing. We went to Africa. We actually went to Ghana. We went to the slave thing. We went on vacation, but we went there to do business. So these are things that this money allowed us to do. And these businesses allowed us to do, and we shared it with the minister because the minister had heard about some of the things that we were doing, but it was all based on what he has inspired us to do. It's what he shared with us to do. And then we put our mathematical theology to work. So again, we started talking about, I think before we came on, about the ability when you come into this thing to have and link up with like minds. Brother Danny, I didn't know him prior to, but Isaiah, we went to school together. But up under this banner of Islam and the brotherhood of the FOI, and and the supreme wisdom and the restrictive laws, it allowed us to do business in such a way that Allah blessed us. Allah blessed us.
Allahu Akbar. Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. And that's very needed, especially for me when I'm trying to talk to my friends who aren't registered members, and they always want to say, what are y'all doing? And I'm like, oh, this my dad did it in this one. So when you can say 40-acre farm and pharmaceuticals, and that's very attractive to our people. Praise be to Allah.
Right. You have to have, Sister Ava said it like this: we now have to go out of talking about the supreme wisdom and express and manifesting it in a tangible way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You have to have now, as I always like to share with the brothers, you have to have something to point to, and that is the influence that is needed to help and to assist us in growing this nation. I want to say this too, Josh, that the minister, when I used to listen to a lot of tapes, as I shared, and it got to the point where we would listen to a tape and I could hear an excerpt from it, and I said, oh yeah, that's from Fear, Faith, and Truth. Oh yeah, that's from Shock of the Hour. Oh yeah, that's from And the Jews Playing. That's just like, oh, that's from Pathology of Hypocrisy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But the minister would always talk about when he was in New York, what New York outdrove Chicago in all the different categories, from the final call, from the number two to the fish shells, everything. And so that was our model. But one of the things that really drives me in terms of being influenced, which makes what you doing so powerful, is because it's not just to the registered members of the Nation of Islam, but it's to the greater Nation of Islam, because we're all Muslims,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This would make sure things so powerful is that when the messenger told the minister, he said, brother, when I go over the nation's finances, this thing kind of hurts my head, and I feel, if I don't get the right thing, I'm paraphrasing, but I need to learn it. I need to learn it. Well, a hint to the wise is sufficient. The minister ended up taking 3 plane loads of professional and business persons to Chicago to hear the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now they weren't registered. They all weren't registered members, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what was it about the minister that he could get 3 that paid on their own dime? That paid their own dime.
Yes,
they got them to chartered 3 plane loads to come to Chicago to hear a man that they didn't say that they believed in, but they came and heard him based on what the minister's influence was.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that's what my position is, that we got to get to the point where a person may not join the nation as a registered member, but we got to be able to influence them to the point where they'll at least listen to us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I still like to smoke cigars, this, that, and the other, but what do you need in terms of my expertise? Mm-hmm. And so are we putting ourselves in that position, Josh, that a person will listen to us and that we have enough influence, enough sway on them to at least have them lend us their support and expertise?
Yes, sir.
So I think that's important for us to start considering now, because if he's not going to join and come into the ranks, then what can we do to help him assist in building this nation?
Praise be to Allah. Excellent teaching, sir. My next question is, speaking of that, we foreshadowed the Million Man March. What was it like for you leading up to the Million Man March, and how did the Million Man March personally impact you?
Million Man March. The brothers in the 90s would know this. We had, at that time, paper was coming out once every 2 weeks, Josh. Your father, the great Supreme Captain Abdul Sharif Muhammad, we would order. That's why we know Brother Sultan, Brother Mill, he would make the E team were account execs. Yes, and they would tell us what our quota was, and they were constantly trying to push us and whatnot. So we would give them our order and this, that, and the other. But at that time, Houston, they gave us 35,000 final calls. hey, John, at why, the title was Why Million Man March for $2. I said, God, dog. Enough squeezing $1 out of these ninjas. Now you want to get $2 out of them?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, no problem. We're gonna make this thing happen. So we got doggone. We get 35,000 coming to Houston, 10,000 in Austin. I'm in between Austin, 10,000 came to Austin. We ain't got no black people in Austin, man. I got 10,000 final calls. Why a Million Man March at $2 a piece? First 2 weeks, we move them. Say, look, brother, we did all right, but we need to go ahead and try to do it again. So, okay, well, cool. We got another 2 weeks for them. Why a Million Man March? So we just kept the same paper. They didn't even print none. Now we had that same paper for a month, Josh. He said, we're gonna go one more time. I said, damn, we got the same paper for 6 weeks. Now we on the corner. He said, man, I got it already. We'll get another one, man. We need your help.
Yes, sir.
So that last week, man, any donation you give, brother, any donation you give. Then they started giving us out with buckets and whatnot. So, but leading up to that goes to the 35,000. I mentioned that earlier, 35,000, the Why the Million Man March. Excuse me, the Million Man March, the minister was in 1 to 2 cities per week, having all men's meeting, doing the work. He comes into Houston in April, and we have 35,000. Prior to that, we were going to speak at Texas Southern University. They get scared, and the enemy scares them. And a week and a half prior to us speaking at TSU, they pull out. Now we got to find a place. We scrambling for a place, Josh. Drink you some coffee, Josh. You fading on me, baby.
No, I'm right here with you. I'm right here with you.
Check this out, Josh. So we looking for some place. You ever heard of Johnny Nash? I can see clearly now.
Yes, sir.
He's outside of Houston. He's like a cowboy. So we looking for places, and we got to find some place that hold at least 7,000 to 10,000. He said, "Well, you can come out to my ranch." This joker had a rodeo thing, Josh. Man, how the hell we gonna get the minister in a rodeo thing? So well, all we do is we put water on the ground, and it'll be just like cement. We set the chairs up. So all right. I don't know if this is gonna work. We'll consider it. Then we looking around, and so we had to go to a place where we end up going with Reverend Pastor C.L. Jackson. May Allah be pleased with him. At that time, he had a mega church, before the big mega churches, and he had the dome. But Isaiah, Brother Khalil, Captain Khalil, Dr. Halim, myself, Brother Warren, Captain Jeff, we go to talk to him. When he came in there, brother, he said, "Doc, I knew you would come. I knew you would come on my way. I knew you would come my way. I heard about your things." And so we were going there, and he said, just like this, Josh, he said, "You know what?" He said, "I got to pray on it, brother. I got to pray on it because, I know what this is going to do. I'm going to lose some people, my deacons." He said, "Now I'm going to ask him." He said, "I'll make the final decision now. I am going to ask him, but I'm going to make the final decision." And that joker was like, and you could tell he was in the valley of decision. Let me reverse it for a second. Prior to that point, we were trying to, remember I was telling you about, we were trying to get Brother Collar to speak in Houston. We wanted him to speak over at the church. But we go up in this bad boy, and his son, Sheldon, who's over the church now, we're friends now and whatnot. But him and Brother Isaiah, they get into it. We got to daggone pull them apart at the man's church. They going back and forth. This is a couple years prior to. So when we come up in there, Sheldon see Brother Isaiah, he got this look on his face like, "Oh hell, here we go. I wonder what we're gonna tell to his dad." Brother, we leave there. He said, "Well, let me make a decision." I said, "Well, okay, So when we get back, we go back to the mosque, and we looking for some other places because we're about a week out now. We gotta get posters and stuff out. Man, he came over. He pulled up, brother. We at the mosque. He didn't call. He pulled up himself. He got cleaned up because he was disheveled when we seen him. I put a suit on, combed his hair, pulled up. Said, "Doc, let's do it." Said, "I know it. Let's do it." And in 1 week, we put the word out, and Allah blessed us with 35,000 to come to to see the men and minister. So now the Million Man March itself. This is a very interesting story right here, Josh.
Okay, 1 second, Rick. Can we go right back there? Now, is this the video of the men's only? That's right. Where is Holyfield there?
That's right. Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is one where Holyfield there. Yes, sir. So now when you got all of the, sir?
Yeah, yes, sir. That's right. Matter of fact, they tell me Holyfield there. They told me to go get this dude. So because they had 7,000 in his main sanctuary. In the gym, he had 3,000. He had 4,000 in his gym, and then another 3,000 in his another 3,000 in his old church. So it's 14,000 in every nook and cranny in terms of building, and then the rest of the people were out in their cars and on the ground in the parking lot and whatnot. So and so we put Holyfield in the choir section. We felt that, I mean, everybody, every seat was occupied. Every seat was occupied, and he was a champion. That joke was in shape, man. Them jokes, man. He a big dude, man. Anyway, he was there. Yeah, that was him.
Okay, yes, sir. And how did that shift the energy leading up to the Million Man March to see that many people and to have Evander Holyfield there?
Well, on the cover of the Final Call, that following issue, it had 35,000. You see brother Trent, who deals with Steve Harvey. You see him pointing over to the thing, because I think he was in Baton Rouge at the time. It built the momentum up, because I mean, it was the largest at that. It was larger than Chicago. It was larger than New York at that time. So now you talking about the South having 35,000 ready for this thing. It really picked up a lot of momentum in regards to, and we got excited, because if we can get 35,000 in Houston, man, just think about the other cities that he's going to be going to. And so we were excited in regards to the million coming. Of course, and almost 2 million showed up.
Praise be to God. Okay, yes, sir. Now let's make sure we follow with the Million Man March. Yes, sir. How did it?
So now the Million Man March, we come into DC, right? And as we come in, we see it's getting thick. All the different hotels I told you I'm from Maryland, so we go stay with my brother again, Brother Isaiah, myself, Brother Jeffrey Muhammad. My companions, I call them. We all stayed at my brother's house. We all piled up there. My cousin came in from Houston. And we got in it was at nighttime, so we kind of didn't really know, because we had to be at our post, which was at the Washington Monument, Southwest region. We had the Washington Monument, which was at we had to be there at 4:30, 4 o'clock, I think. No, we had to be there at 4 o'clock. We get out there, bad boy. So we park and we walk to the thing, man. It was cold as I don't know what, man. We all huddled up at the doggone, we supposed to be fasting, so they had the place open so we could try to get some hot chocolate and come. It was just cold, man. We all in a big circle, trying to stay warm. So may Allah be pleased with Big Brother Ruben.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He was the captain in San Antonio at the time. Brother Khalil was up there by the thing. So Brother Captain Jeff, Brother Ruben, myself, but Captain Tyrone, all the different captains from Southwest region, we were back there dealing with, getting the men and whatnot together. So check this out, Josh. And I wish we could have recorded, because they didn't have those stuff at that time. Our job was the Washington Monument. So this thing was still open because it was Monday. But for the most part, it was shut down because we would just kind of, our presence didn't allow, quote unquote, visitors to come up in that bed. They weren't going up there. So
yes, sir.
Ruben and I would go up and down just checking. So now when light finally hit, we go up there with the park ranger, because we had now built a relationship with this dude. So he had left down the elevator. At 9 o'clock, and never will forget this, Josh. At 9 o'clock, we looking at the thing. We had binoculars. We looking at the Capitol steps, and we asked the park ranger, well, how many you think is here right now? So he took the binoculars and looked. He said, y'all got about y'all got about 500,000 right now. I said, how can you tell? He said, well, they have quadrants, and when these quadrants are filled up, we know how much they hold. See, I wish we would have recorded them, because they said they only have 400. At 9 o'clock, the park ranger told us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you got about 500,000 right now. He told me and Brother Ruben this.
Yes, sir.
So me and Brother Ruben, he said, oh man, we're gonna get our 1,000,000. Ain't gonna be no problem.
Praise be to Allah.
Now we go through the. Check this out, Josh. Now we back there. We really don't realize how many people there. Me and the first officer, now the minister, student minister Robert in Austin now, he's my first officer, said, man, let's see if we can go to the front. Man, we started trying to walk, and that thing started getting thicker and thicker and thicker. And then next, man, we couldn't get past the fourth Jumbotron, man. So, man, let's just go back. Let's just go back, man. This ain't no way in the world we're gonna get up there.
Yes, sir.
So now they pass the money bags around, right? They pass the money bags around, and they pass the money bags around, and you know they're collecting money. Then brother Isaiah hits me on the radio. 22. Yeah, what's up? Hey man, I need a car. So what's going on? Man, I got some bags of money, man. They never came and got them. I said, okay, well, hold on. You know, after a while, we're gonna make it happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can't keep this money. They've already collected it. So now I catch up with him. We commandeer a car. I said, well, where are they staying? I said, man, I don't know where they staying. But Jeff said, but Jeff Muhammad said, I know where they staying at. And but Jeff is a good driver. We tossed in the keys, brother.
Yes, sir.
We going through DC, and we find out he knows the hotel they're staying at. So now we trying to call brother Sultan or brother Emil, say, hey, look, man, we got bags of money here that we got to get to you. Nobody responds. We get up to the hotel. We go into the lobby. I go into the lobby. Still hard, brother Sultan. Then I said, brother Sultan, I need you to come out to the car. But what you need, brother? I need to come out to the car, man. He said, look, but Isaiah said in the car, said, we got these bags. We're in the trunk. We got these bags. We got bags of money. He said, what? He said, yeah, they never came and got them, man. So hold on. Stay right here. He goes up and he comes back down. He said, y'all follow me. But Isaiah and I, we walking into the lobby of the hotel with 3 trash bags of money, right? Now brother Sultan brings us up to the suite because he's bringing it up to your father, to brother Sharif.
Yes, sir.
When we get up there, but Will Smith, Uncle Phil, and the little one, Fonzo Rebel, but what was his character's name?
Carlton. Yes, sir.
They leaving out. They just left the suite.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, I said, damn, okay. I didn't know that. Well, obviously I didn't know that. It was almost 2 million people there, Josh. I didn't know all.
Yes, sir.
We get to the suite. He said, but Sultan said, but Supreme, Brother Isaiah and Brother Durce are here to see you. So, yes, sir. What you need, bro? What you need, soldiers? He said, but Supreme, I had more of a relationship with I said, but Supreme, these because, you know, we would always talk on the conference call.
Yes, sir.
But Isaiah, they got these bags of money, and they never came and got them. So we want to turn them directly to you. Praise be to Allah. He said, brother. Now this is the part that tripped me out, Josh. He said, brother, man, y'all could have actually walked off with that money, and we would never known about it. So me and Brother Isaiah looked at it and said, like, man, where would that thought come from? Who would walk off with the minister's money?
Yes, sir.
Where would that thought come from? So he's like, no service, man. That's not even a thought. Brother, praise be to Allah, brother. Look, minister's next door in the suite. I'm stay right here. I'm gonna tell him, brother. I mean, that's honorable. And I'm still scratching my head like, man, honorable, man. What the heck we gonna do with this state of our money?
Yes, sir.
Man, this is the minister's money, or the nation's money. So we brought those 3 bags up there, and so the minister, I guess the Supreme, but they said, well, brothers, we got to get ready to go because they just called us. We got to go over to CNN. They want us to go speak, but I'll definitely let the minister know. So we dropped that bag of money there and left. So, but it was just really interesting to me, brother, that that thought would be in somebody's mind. Brother, 3 bags of money to lose your salvation for life, man. Yes, come on, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah.
Yeah.
Excellent, beautiful. Thank you for your honesty, your transparency, sir, and your discipline. Speaking of Dr. Khalid, earlier you told me before we spoke offline, you said you would touch on him.
Yes, sir. Brother Khalid he's from Houston originally. Okay. And so when I joined the nation in '88, we saw Brother Khalid in Dallas at this they call it the Third Eye Conference, and we asked him to come to Houston, and I didn't know nothing about him. He said, well, I'm from Houston, and set it up. And we check this out. He came to Prairie View to speak. He came to other different places. We got him an honorarium right there at Prairie View, and he spoke. And so, being from Houston, we reconnected him with his sister Kashila, and reconnecting him every year. After that, Brother Khalid would come to Houston once to twice a year. Mm-hmm. And so it was in Houston that he left to get ready to go to, and Brother Isaiah and myself, along with others, but primarily Brother Isaiah and I would we would do security. Brother Khalid was just hard on jokers, man. Every little thing. again, going back to my fraternity, that was nothing to me. You know, man, bro, you didn't do this, man, right? All right, cool. I just do it right next time, you know. no, you don't put your hands on me. It's cool. You ain't gonna hit me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we didn't mind being around me. He trained us well. Anyway, so check this out. So he would come when he first started coming, brother, we would go by Brother Isaiah's house, and then we would leave, and then Brother Isaiah's wife, Sister Melba, would say, you know, there was when y'all left, there was a car that left with y'all. Your followers. You know, then Brother Isaiah found out his neighbors would tell him that there was be cars outside the house, looking at the house, you know, keeping surveillance, I guess. So brother, like I said, so he would be in and out of Houston about twice a year at that time. So the last time Brother Khaled was next to the last time that Brother Khaled was in Houston as a member of the nation, because he came back again as a Black Panther doing the Shaka Sankofa. When he was executed, he came back when he was a Black Panther, doing the Black Panther thing then. Brother Isaiah, myself, and Dr. Halim was with Brother Khaled prior to him going to New York. And he shared with us the letter that the minister had given him as far as instructions prior to when he got to New York, when he was being appointed the minister there in New York. And when he got there in New York, the instruction that he was told and that he agreed to, we could tell that he did not abide by those instructions that was given to him. And so when people jumped up and down that the minister, you know, did him bad, this, that, and the other, there were instructions that we know, and he knows, that he did not abide by, that allowed him not to be able to be put into, to be able to hold on to that particular post, because he was actually installed. And then 90 days later, the minister was going to come back and do a real big to-do. The minister had to do something, but he's going to come back and do a real big to-do about it. But he was installed. He was the minister in New York. But within those 90 days, Josh, there were some instructions that the minister, that he shared with Brother Kyle, and he shared with us on what he was supposed to do, and he didn't do them. And so the minister had to relieve him of the particular post. So when they talk about, you know, the minister, there were some things on Brother Collins in that he did not do and he did not fulfill, and he knows that. So, you know, when they talk about that, that's not the case, you know.
Praise the Lord, and thank you for giving some clarity to that, because it's still
yeah. And you know, one of the things that I could share with you too, that whatever the difference is, whatever the thing is, and you know, he's speaking from a position of hurt, blah 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 blah. You know, Brother Khaled always loved the minister. He felt that there was just things around, you know, the same thing with the Malcolm thing. And I remember him saying, you know, I said, Brother Khaled, you know, you're really kind of getting shaped up, and they're really kind of shaping you, like Malcolm was to the messenger and you to the minister. He said, yeah, brother. But he said, brother, but I'm gonna pass that test. Oh, okay, all right, you know.
Dang. Okay, excellent. My next, speaking of that and surveillance, you came up as a Kappa, but you're in the South, and then I heard the minister speak when I was in he said it's a murderous state of Texas, and you lived there and you served there for so many years, speaking the teachings of Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad as taught by the Most Honorable Louis Farrakhan. Have you ever feared for your life? And if so, how did you overcome that fear?
Nah, and it's interesting you say. I'm glad you said that, because you know the closest thing that we going back again. I first joined the nation, and the brothers going back to Prairie View, the brothers would come up and show videotapes. Brother Charles X. White and others, they would show videotapes of the ministers, and so I would be watching them and whatnot. Then all of a sudden they just stopped. I mean, you know, they just stopped. I didn't know and didn't realize, but they had the minister at that time had been killed here in Houston, and so they were on investigation. So they just stopped coming, right? So then now again, fast forward. So the first time I hear and see Brother Jabril is they were subpoenaed by the courts to give testimony or deposition in regards to the murder of the minister that was in Houston. Again, this is all over my head. I don't know none of the backdrop to it and whatnot.
Yes, sir.
And so when they did that, Lou Myers came in because they wanted the minister to come in, and Brother Colin and Brother Jabril came in and represented. And so Lou Myers came in, and he did after they did that thing, he came and we filmed him doing he did a 2-hour thing, expose on COINTELPRO, the things that they're doing from the nation and this, that, and the other. So, I mean, I'm hearing this stuff, but I'm on the outskirts of it, but I never really experienced. So the biggest thing that I had personally, but Josh, to be quite honest, as you say, using the transparency is, you know, when we sell the papers, you know, jokers be trying to intimidate you. They'll put the gun on their lap, or
Yes,
they get away from my car and point the gun at the thing, you know. But as far as surveillance, I will say this, because you just kind of jogged I will say this: our businesses was generating quite a bit of income and revenue, and we weren't buying no gold teeth, and we weren't buying no doggone diamond earrings, and putting spinners on our car and whatnot. And there came scrutiny on our particular businesses that was unusual compared to other businesses of the same ilk. So that was, you know, now that as I'm talking to you, that was their backdoor way of getting us, but nothing, you know, I didn't see no FBI knocked on my door or nothing like that. They're a little bit more sophisticated, but you know, that was probably that's probably the biggest thing. Got into a couple fights again with Brother Isaiah and Brother Danny. They get me in trouble, brother. like John Lewis said, good trouble.
Good trouble, yes, sir.
Good trouble.
And that's a good quote. Yes, sir. My next question for you is, what has been your greatest joy in your tenure in the Nation of Islam?
Brother Josh has shared with you, just to be kind of recognized by the minister. So this kind of will kind of put a bow on the Prairie View thing, and it kind of goes into what we just said. And I've had many joys, but this one is really sticks out, and I think it'll kind of tie some things together what we just talked about. So as I said, I fell short of the honorarium, and I said to myself that whenever Allah blessed me, I was going to fulfill that. So when I did the calculation, the minister, of course, we paid for all the expenses and had $3,800 for his honorarium. So we were $6,200 short. Mm. So when Allah blessed me to get into a position, I wrote the minister a letter. And I wrote the minister a letter, Brother Halim, showed it to Brother Halim, Dr. Halim. Dr. Halim helped facilitate it. He got it to the minister. And then Sister Kim wrote back. Sister Kim wrote back and said, brother, you know, the minister was very moved by your letter, very humbled, and he would like to see you. You know, if you can make it up, he'll be speaking this Sunday, next Sunday, something like that. Yeah, like, no, I'm there, you know, because in that letter, Josh, I said that, you know, I told him everything I just shared with you, and I fell short. But I said in that letter that if I would ever get to the position that I was going to make my word bond and give you the balance of that honorarium. So I flew to Chicago to give him a cashier's check for the balance of that honorarium. Sister Kim wrote, and because I told him my attention, Sister Kim wrote back, said that, you know, she said, brother, the minister, again, I just said, moved by your letter. He said, yes, keep that to your family, but he still would like to see you and, you know, greet you, etc. Then as I'm getting close, I get another email. He said, well, he was going to have dinner with you, but we're in the middle of Ramadan, so he doesn't want to break fast. But, you know, please come and he will see you after the meeting. So fly to Chicago. And, you know, after the meeting, we're out in the hall. You know, my name is on the list to see him.
Yes, sir.
So Brother Rashad, he comes out, he said, brother, you ready? He said, yes, sir. Now I know all the E-team because, you know, I'm dealing with them. So, and I'm not knowing that the minister knows me. Does he know me? Then, you know. So brother, when I walked in, going to this joy part of in the nation, when I walked in, he said, oh, I know this brother. I see him all the time. That was it for me right there, John. That was it. That was it. Yeah, that was it. I mean, that was it. To be recognized by someone, and you see him all the time, you don't know if he sees you, notice you or not, you know, because I've been fortunate enough that when we do the airport, you know, we do all the stuff for the airport and all this other sort of things, and that was it. I said, brother minister, again, thank you. And he said, no, brother, give this to, you and your family. I ended up giving to him anyway, doing Savior's Day gift.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I backdoored it to him.
Yes, sir.
I backdoored it to him. But that right there, brother, when he recognized and acknowledged me, I don't know if of course, years later, we were talking, he would just laugh when he would see me for some reason. I don't know what's going on with that, but but that right there, brother, was my greatest joy, to be recognized by a man that, that I have so high regard for, to be recognized by him. But he didn't say my name at that time. He said, "Oh, I know this. That's all I needed right there, brother." So that right there is something that's moving, and I'm quite sure brothers who, when they get an opportunity to meet the minister and they recognize him, or just to have their name come out of his mouth, is something. So, yeah, that was something right there, brother.
Praise be to Allah. My sister Naima says, praise be to Allah. What do you do for fun, brother Darius, brother Captain?
Play dominoes, hang out with my peers. Josh, let me say this. I shared with you, I think we may have been off camera, but the importance of having companions in this work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because you got to have companions from the standpoint of being able to let your hair down. Not that y'all going to break the restrictive laws, not that y'all going to, do anything crazy, but you got to be able to talk in such a way amongst one another where you have perhaps your own inside humor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You can talk about one another in the nation and not get bent out of shape. So what I do for fun is hang out with the brothers. I ride my bike and stuff now, but primarily getting with the brothers, kind of reminiscing, and then just when a Muslim laughs, brother, and has a laugh, that is the purest laugh, because we're not drunk, we're not high, we don't have nothing, nothing influencing us, that when we sober up, we say, man, that wasn't funny, so whatever we have, something funny and whatnot. And so that's why I wanted to share something with you, Josh. Going back, I said I was going to do this. And that's why I'm so glad to be on your platform, man. Because I remember, I said, your father is a very big influence in regards to because at that time, Josh, you just couldn't become a captain. You had to get approved by, but in the same way now with Brother Supreme, Brother Musa, you just don't just pop up being a captain. So he has to vet you, So I was up on under his thing, and so we would go to Savior's Day, man. I'd be seeing. Said, and this is something we laugh at. We be going to Savior's Day, and you and Jade and all the little junior fruit come around, and y'all be like selling the general orders.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Oh, here they come. Yeah, but all FY I gotta get Supreme. Yeah, all FY I gotta get general orders. I said, come on, man. And then okay, so I said, okay, we'll go for it the first year. Second year, here we come again. I said, oh, well, like this one right here, man. So look, we said, man, here comes Supreme son. Say, hey, man, look at his head, man. A big head dude right there. Big head dude right there, man. And that the Puerto Rican with him. Hey, so check this out, Josh. So then after the general orders card, then y'all started selling them flags. Maybe y'all started selling them flags.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But now to see almost 20 years later, you still in this thing, brother, and you're doing it in a way that is, my opinion, the way to do it, because of the influence that you are. What you do on Friday, you get to the community.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You dress in a certain way where you're inviting to the people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, and let me say this too, Josh. Going back to y'all used to be looking all hard and whatnot. Man, you got a nice smile, Josh. Smile, man. Smile, man. The minister is an inviting person, brother. His the proper handling of people. One of the things it tells us is the smile. Use a person's name.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so I try to be on that and going to your thing of having fun. I try to meet people, get friendships in all walks of life. That's what we the Supreme Wisdom will tell us that we need to do, good friends, money, good homes, and friendships in all walks of life. Minister has friendships in all walks of life, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes,
everybody you hang out with is not Muslims.
That's right.
So with the Muslims in the sense, but not in the nation. I'll put it like that. So, yeah. Keep a smile going, Josh. Look at
yes, sir. Okay, well, Brother Cap, I have 2 more questions for you, but I want to say, Brother Jamar says you're a true brother in faith. Praise be to Allah. A quick commercial break for our sponsors. I want to make sure because, yes, sir, I want to start off with, here we go, boom. My brother Rashad and his business partner, Brother Jamal, Street Premiere Video Production and Editing. I thank them very much for their 4K cameras and drones and what they do with television, film, and editing over. Also, speaking of Houston, Sister Akila, if you all listen to Sister Akila in the Honda, new cartoon, Keisha's, this is season 2, episode 3. Listen to the voice. You will hear your brother on there. I'm very honored that I was able to be a part of the cartoon. That meant a lot to me. My sister Miriam's book, ABC, I Love Me. It is on Amazon. Make sure we all go out and get that and support it, please. My sister Naima's dance company, Stay On Point Dance Academy LLC. On Instagram, she teaches ballet virtually to young women all across the world. Supreme Men's Clothing, St. Louis, Missouri, 18035 West Florissant Avenue, 314-528-555. Our brother's going to keep you fresh and dripping with the best of fashion. Thank you, sir. Brother Kenneth Bowtie Maker Extraordinaire, 917-337-1380. He will ship the bow ties to you. BMW Entertainment, our brother Ronald in Phoenix, Arizona. They do event planning all across the country. Supreme Team Insurance, Todd X McGraw, 803-521-2787. Make sure we get our insurance from our brother. Baby Bean Pies out in Oakland, California. Brother Carlton and Sister Zakiya Muhammad. They have the small bean pies and they taste very well. Sister Shelly Hassan, Exodus, A New Way of Life, credit.restoration.com. I thank you, sister. If you want to need some credit restoration, she does that very well. Brother Chantel X, the Supreme Express X Factor and Transportation in Houston, Texas. They specialize in freight and refrigeration. Sister Serena Woodford in Fort Lauderdale, designsofcomposure.com, hollytexture.com. They do homemade hair and skin products. I'm coming right back to you, Brother Captain. Brother Maurice D. Muhammad, 24 karat gold by the gram or by the 10th, therealmoney.online, Asiatic /cents. And my father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, abdulsharif.com. Also, Sister Tia Muhammad, Raising Black Millionaires, the flashcards teach economic empowerment and development to young children. Last but not least, my 2 books are on Amazon, No Father, No Excuse, and Cleopatra, the children's book. I thank you all. You can help continue this with the $, The People's Podcast on Cash App. Thank you very much. Brother Captain, will you ever write a book about your life, sir?
I am writing a book, but it's going to be on the power of your appearance and what does it communicate to others. I think that's very, very important. And I would love to come back once that thing is done and do that, because again, the minister is our example in every facet, and his appearance is it's impeccable, as well as he's appropriate for every situation. So that is the thing that in the Nation of Islam we're taught, that opposites attract. And yes, attraction just means that you have a leaning toward it. Mean you may not like it, but the first thing to be able to get anything done is to be able to have people attracted to you. And then of course you should have something to say, but you got to have people attracted to you, and appearance is the first thing that people will recognize. What sound travels at 1100 20 feet per second.
Correct.
But speed of light is 186,000 miles per second. So they see you before they hear you.
Yes, sir.
So if that's the case, then you have the opportunity to make an impression, or at least put them to think in a certain way on how you dress. So I think that we need to really look at that. Again, there was no roll of the dice the way the most honorable Elijah Muhammad dressed us. There was no roll of the dice on how he made us opposite of the world. And so all those things are important, non-verbal communication is important. That's why I tell you to smile, man, because you have a pretty smile. The minister, man, he's so inviting. When you meet the minister, everybody, when they meet the minister, they talk about how such a pleasant man he is, and that smile he has.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We should be following his example.
Crazy.
Hey, let's say one thing for your last two questions, Josh, and
yes,
that
sir,
is you mentioned, and I mentioned to you again, you know, the some highlights in my nation career, and I told you about the minister just recognizing me.
Yes, sir.
Another thing, and that it's done. It's been done on a few occasions, but one of the things that I get highly complimented on, and I'm very highly appreciative of, is to be recognized. I was in Milwaukee at an educational conference, and I was at the thing registering, and the sister just came and gave me the greetings, and I returned them. And she, I know she didn't know me, but she said, I know my brothers. I know,
yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir.
I know what they look like. So to be recognized as a Muslim or somebody different, and that people, when they make that assumption about you that you're a Muslim, I think that's very important. And the other thing is that I was at a Savior's Day, brother, and one year, and a brother came up to me. He was out of New York. He said, "Brother, Capt Durce." Yes, sir, brother. Yeah, you know, all the Savior's Day, happy Savior, all that sort of stuff. He said, "Brother, I just wanted to thank you, brother. You were over because when I would go to Savior's Day, man, I wanted to be what action was." So, brother Captain Thomas, brother Captain Majid out of Detroit, he and I did check posts for a couple years at Savior's Day. And that's what the action is. And we were a small city, so we would come up there and we would be excited about that. He said, I really appreciated how you handled, he said us, but then he said how you handled me. He said, I asked you a question, man. He said, you weren't, whatever he said, he just complimented me on how I handled him. So I'm highly appreciative of those type of things too, that people will recognize, and more important, that they remembered. So that's kind of, those are highlights too.
Praise be to Allah. Excellent. Okay, well, my next question for you is, what do you want your legacy to be?
That's a good question. And I was thinking about that, but I think I want my legacy to be that if they would speak of me, that I treated brothers and sisters, but in particular, I deal with a lot of brothers, and that I treated them, fair, and that they learned something from me. That they learned something from me. That's what I want my legacy to be. You know, brother told me this, or brother, not that I gave him an actual fact that they didn't know, but perhaps a little tidbit of how to approach a certain situation that they may not have known how to do it until I may have shared it with them. So that's what I really want my legacy to be. But the minister said right now, our life is full of commas, brother. Ain't no period to it yet, man. So I may still got a few things to go.
Absolutely. Praise be to Allah. Well, I want to thank you all for watching. And I want to say, Brother Captain, that I have a lamp that I usually keep on the floor, but it's right here, and it was hitting my eyes, so it was burning. That's why I wasn't going to sleep. I was over here trying to tint it. I was like, God dang, it's on fire over here. So it's making me squint. I keep looking down like this. The lamp is really just bright right now. But I want to thank you very much, Brother Captain. Thank you for your sacrifice, your family for their sacrifice, and thank you for continuing to have your spirit and upbeat. I definitely wouldn't have known. You don't look your age at all, so I would have never known that you were around 1988. And you can't be like, I would have definitely never known all of that. Yeah. So thank you, and continue to inspire us, brother. And I'm pro education, so I want to make sure I reach out to brothers, and recommend brothers to you for mentorship, that you can help them continue this in and out to further their education, further our education.
Yeah, but but Josh, before we go, the minister. He talks about us going back after our, if you're in the gang, go back after your blood, go back after the blood, go back after. Well, the same thing with education. Go back after the Kappas, go back after the Omegas.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Go back after those that you have been blessed with a certain type of wisdom or knowledge or an understanding, and go back and share it with them, no matter what stratosphere that you're in. As I said at the outset, I thought the fraternity was one of the best ways, but the Nation of Islam is the best way in terms of bonding complete strangers for life, and from all walks of life too, Josh. From the quote unquote gang, they always, brother Abdul Rahman would talk about how you can dress the plumber up, put him next to the professor, put him next to the gangbang, put him next to the joker that just walked out of jail, and you won't know who none of them are in terms of what their former life was, but you do know that the FOI and Nation of Islam, and that on the path to being God. So we all have a responsibility and obligation to reach back whatever environment that we came from to pull. And if it's education, we go back to the schools and let's do that, and let's talk that language to them.
Praise be to Allah. Sister Teresa Pearl says, thank you, Brother Captain. Brother Jimmy Davis says, give brother the greetings from San Antonio, from brother Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy.
Well, I want to thank you very much, brother Captain. It was an honor, sir. And please, when you do your book, can we please? I need the exclusive. We definitely
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna get Sister Donna. Tell Sister, yeah, I got it. Yeah, beat that, Sister Donna. She know what I'm talking. She know.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum, family.
Malik Islam.